Hey everybody, Jabman025 here. Today I'm taking a look at a high-grade kit, and one of the biggest high-grade kits to date. This is the RX-104 FF, or Fixed Flight Penelope. This is one of the biggest high-grades ever made. I decided to pick it up. Let's have a look, see what we got. Now, you start off building the Odysseus Gundam. The Odysseus is the base Gundam that everything's going to be stacked on top of. Nice head here. We got some stickers for the eyes and for the front-facing camera. I like the sick mohawk we got going there. You see a lot of lining to do. That's a very big theme with this kit. This is old school 1/100th XX levels of lining. Except this is just bigger. Yeah, bigger than the high grade. 1/100. Anyway, get them all set together. I like the shield, combination sword, combination weapon on the forearm. The legs are terrible. They're almost entirely white, but you're not going to see them very much when we have everything on there. We got these extension arms on the legs that do not get used yet, and I'll show you why. But yeah, the legs are pretty hideous, just almost entirely white, very devoid of detail. Granted, it's a high grade, but still. But like I said, you're almost never going to see these legs because we're going to start stacking stuff on this thing. Giant back skirt armor. That's going to get out of the way a little bit. Shoulders are kind of neat with that bending mechanism. Those thrusters on this side have stickers on them. They move out of the way. That's not a big deal. Little size comparison. Here he is to a 1/100th ground Gundam. One of my old customs. And the one on the left is the bigger scale. 1/100th versus 1/144th. Yeah. Now here he is next to a 1/144th scale Gundam, and you see what I'm talking about. This is a real grade strike. Now, we start stacking this stuff. First up, the feet. The white feet have some red platforms that go underneath. And now you use the bracers, because now he's going to start getting wide and big. Thrusters on each back. They have these yellow fins underneath. These things may look big and heavy. They're not. They're almost entirely hollow. And there's really not a lot of weight to this thing, even when it's all loaded up. Front skirt armor. More lining, as you see there. The way this works, there's a little latch on the front of the skirt armor that latches into this thing, and it just kind of plugs in. At first, this works fine, but the more I started fiddling with it, the looser it got. So this starts falling off a lot by the end I'm done. And we start seeing something here already. First start off, the waist is very tight, no problems. But as things go, it gets looser and looser, and the legs start doing the splits. But as you get it out of the box, it works fine. But it starts changing as that goes. Now we're going to move the arms apart. It opens up this little gap here. Extends the arms out. You're going to move the V-fin up. It's got this huge shoulder/chest piece. This is actually a very nice looking piece. Lots of color separation, lots of detail. Again, you got some lining to do, but not actually a ton on this piece here. This thing reminds me a lot of the XS or the Deep Strike, or that big giant chest piece on there. And yeah, it's getting kind of bulky already. Now the backpack. Yeah, this is the backpack. Wow. Okay, we got a giant tail fin, and I do mean gigantic. Another giant back fin. A bird head thing that goes at the top. Those red fins you see on the top, middle there, those are stickers. I repainted them because the stickers sucked. Again, a lot of lining to do. Front, back, forward. This giant head on the front with the big command-style V-fin thing. There's a sticker underneath there that creates the yellow. They don't give you anything for the top, so you got to paint or use a marker on that. I just went with a Gundam marker to pull that off. And the backpack is considerably bigger than the Gundam itself. It's absurd is what it is. It's over a foot long, and not by a little bit either. It's a good deal over, probably closer to 13, 14 inches. Yeah. And we stack that thing on the back, and then the shoulders go on top of that. After building the... look at the back shoulder armor goes almost to the middle of the leg. And now you see it's really starting to do the splits. It's really starting to go wonky on me. And yeah, it's a joke is what it is at this point. You're just kind of laughing at this silliness and the size and the overtop madness of this thing. It does come with a beam rifle. Kind of a neat looking beam rifle, actually. It's kind of futuristic, weirdish, angular, kind of neat. Doesn't look like a normal beam rifle. 2 beam blades, but they're very small. But probably about the right size for high grade. You can do a couple different things with that. First, there's these 2 cannons on top of the Gundam itself. They can act like it's firing the cannons. Also, on the shield, I mentioned it was a weapon. There's a couple of different places on the shield you can just hook those into. So it's like a built-in shield / weapon. I thought that was kind of cool. And there we go. And you can put it in the gun itself to act like it's firing a beam shot, which is nice. You don't see a lot of Gundams get to do that, but that's also very nice. Now, you can take all this stuff off fairly easily. It doesn't really hook in there permanently, so you can take it all off. And you can do something else with it. If you can switch out the hips. I have it on upside down because I'm stupid. But you can switch out the hips. It makes the hips slightly more narrower. And then you can put everything back on. It's very easy. It sounds complicated. It's nice. Just slide the legs out, switch the hips, put it back in. And you got your Odysseus Gundam. Base model. Legs still look terrible, but whatever. Hold up the weapons, no problems whatsoever. Shoulders are super tight, no issues whatsoever there. Now, you can stack all this stuff up into the fixed flight mode. I don't know quite how this works physically. I guess all the parts are assembled in this mode. It can fly to where the Gundam is, and they have to disassemble it and then reassemble it on the Gundam. You see, you even got the platforms for the feet in there. There's brackets that kind of sandwich the whole thing together. There's extra pieces that sandwich everything in there. And it holds it up just fine. And they give you this action stand. This is just like a standard action stand with a smaller neck and a different attachment up top to hold on to it. But, the Flying Turkey, ladies and gentlemen. The Flying Turkey of Doom. Yeah. This is something else, boys. But, yeah. It's kind of neat in that it looks very different from something. It's just jutting everywhere. The way the thrusters and the fins, they kind of look like feathers. It does look like a giant flying bird of some sort. But wow. And you got the tail fin extended all the way out. Did I mention that tail fin extends even further? So yeah, it's... At a certain point, you do have to laugh at this thing. When I'm putting this together, it's like, oh, come on. Seriously? Now you put it all back on again, and you can have it in flight mode. The neck comes over the head, and it moves forward. Everything's supposed to push back. At this point, the leg should be pointing more backwards, but the hips are so loose, it doesn't do that no more. Full extension on the tail fin. You're supposed to have the legs pointing a little bit more backwards, but I couldn't quite pull it off. But yeah. Little size comparison. The Master Grade RX-782 and the Real Grade RX-782. The Real Grade and that, and the... Penelope are the same scale, folks. So the Penelope is basically a flying skyscraper. Final thoughts on this kit. I will be giving this a thumbs up, but just barely. I mean, this is an expensive kit for a high grade. For Master Grade, it's on the average to low side. But geez. I mean... The only thing that's neat about it is it's so over the top. I mean, if there's a line, it pole vaults across the line and sets it on fire while wearing a tutu and a rainbow wig. Okay? It's just so crazy. But it's kind of its charm. It's just kind of nuts. And I like the lore behind it. It's like, well, this was the prototype. When they made the Kasi Gundam, they were able to integrate a lot of this thing into the Gundam itself, so it didn't have all this extra stuff on it. And the wackiness of the armor, it's either something you love or you hate. That's probably the best way to describe this kit. If you look at this kit and go, wow, look at that crazy thing, I want one of those, go ahead and pick it up. But if you look at this thing and go, what in the blue blazes? You don't want this kit, there is no reason to pick it up. There's nothing that, makes me stop in my tracks and go, wow, this is impressive. But for the sheer oddity of it, I kind of enjoy it. There are some really good parts, and there's some really neat things going on in there. It's got a cool look to it, despite all its flaws. I mean, it's not like the Deep Striker that's just begging for some color separation and begging for some detail. There's detail here. There's a lot of work needs to be done in terms of lining. Some painting that has to be done, but not a ton. But overall, it's a good kit. I enjoyed it. I'm going to enjoy putting it on the same shelf as Deep Striker just to kind of go, wow, look at that absurdity. But like I said, it's barely a thumbs up. It's not a great kit, but it's okay, and I enjoy it for what it is. Take that for what you will. Thumbs up for me. Well, gang, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it informative. If you have any questions, please ask them. I will answer them as best I can. Please stay tuned for more. I always got more reviews coming. And I will see you guys next time. Oh, and one more thing. You know, I've heard people say the head on this thing looks like a dragon. I've always thought it kind of looks like a goose. And it's so tall. Wait a minute.